this was actually one that I recorded last. And I'm like, I have a video talking about there's something wrong with the Fever and how they look defeated, everything. And I still stand by those videos, especially because some of them are reactions at the time, right after the game. So, I mean this when I say this. Fire Stephanie White yesterday. Like, fire her yesterday. And the reason why is not that Stephanie White is a bad basketball coach. It's not that Stephanie White is a bad motivational speaker. It's not that Stephanie White has done a bad job defending her players. It's not any of that. It's that Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark fundamentally have different understandings of the sport of basketball.
The reason you lost was not because Caitlin Clark didn't score the basketball. The reason you lost is because you stopped doing what was working. What worked for the Indiana Fever, especially in that first half, was a pick and roll with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. All you have to do is have a pick and roll at the top of the key. Off that pick and roll, two defenders are going to go with Caitlin Clark, leaving Aaliyah Boston to have a wide open lane. That is just the play you should go to every single possession. But how come we never go to it in back-to-back possession? We'll go to it one possession, the next possession we don't go to it. Why not? Stephanie White, why not? It always works. Two defenders are always going to go with Caitlin Clark. There should never be a play where Caitlin Clark brings the ball up the court and then she passes it and she runs off the playoff ball.
What was the game plan against her to kind of slow her down?
Well, like I said pregame, it was just to try to make everything as difficult as possible. Like, you know, Asia's one of the best players in the world. You know, you're not going to stop her. So we just needed to make it difficult, and I thought AB did. But Asia did what great players do, and they step up in the fourth quarter, and that's what she did. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is what we have to do as a staff to get her better looks, like higher quality looks. Every game plan is going to be to make her score inside the three-point line.
Imagine drafting a player so monumental, so utterly game-changing that the entire league shifts. Arena seats fill, TV ratings soar, and the buzz, it's electric. Now imagine watching that same player not dominate, not electrify, but stand around not because they can't, but because the system they're in seems to actively prevent it. This isn't a hypothetical, this is the baffling, tension-filled saga unfolding right now in the WNBA, starring none other than the phenomenon. Caitlin Clark, her coach Stephanie White, and a legend who finally had enough, Linn Dunn. You thought WNBA drama peaked? Buckle up, because this is a masterclass in basketball identity crisis, and it hit the fan louder than a Miss Buzzer-beater dot. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto the WNBA court, the world was watching. We expected fireworks, record-breaking threes, and that signature swagger, and for a fleeting moment, we got glimpses. But then a strange quiet descended. The Indiana Fever, touted as the league's next big thing with Clark at the helm, started looking disoriented. Their defense felt optional, and their offense, surprisingly, often felt like a group project where nobody quite knew their part. This wasn't the championship contender everyone had hoped for, and the biggest question mark hung over the star herself. The whispers started subtly. Why was Clark, the queen of deep threes and fearless drives, often relegated to the perimeter, watching plays unfold instead of orchestrating them? It felt like handing Picasso a paintbrush and then duct taping his hands, telling him to supervise. While interns finger-painted, fans, analysts, and even casual observers scratched their heads. The flow, the fire, the fundamental Caitlin Clark-ness seemed to be missing. She wasn't just missing shots. She was missing opportunities. The frustration reached a boiling point when the Fever's offense stumbled to humiliating lows, scoring under 20 points in entire halves, even a measly 9 1/4 to call that professional basketball felt. Like a stretch, the team's collective impact dwindled, save for a few isolated moments from Aaliyah Boston and Arika McDonald. It wasn't just losing, it was how they were losing, without fight, without a clear strategy, and with their generational talent seemingly locked in a rotational Bermuda Triangle amidst this growing chaos, one specific offensive gem occasionally shone through, the pick and roll between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. When they ran it, it was pure magic. Defenders would naturally gravitate towards Clark, leaving Boston with a wide-open lane to the basket. It was a simple, effective, almost unstoppable play. So what happened? Why was it used once then? abandoned, this baffling inconsistency became a central point of contention, leaving fans and players alike wondering if the coaching staff was actively avoiding what worked, and you could see it on Clark's face. That subtle, polite Midwestern fury, the tight smile, the slow nods, the kind that signals a silent, internal basketball revolution plotting behind the eyes. She wasn't arguing with refs, she wasn't revving up the crowd, and that signature. Fire seemed to have dimmed. It wasn't just an off night. It felt like she was checked out, resigned to a role far beneath her capabilities, perhaps trying to fit into a system that simply wasn't designed for her strengths. Then, a thunderclap. In the library! Linn Dunn, for those unfamiliar, Linn Dunn isn't just an executive. She's a basketball lifer, a strategist with decades of receipts, and a Hall of Famer in her own right. She's not someone who chills in a high-rise, passively watching from. When she speaks, it's not a polite tea-sipping disagreement. It's a seismic smackdown that reverberates through every group chat, from ESPN to the Fever's practice facility. And she was done playing nice. Dunn didn't just notice the under-utilization. She boiled. Watching her franchise star treated like a floor prop in a low-budget production was enough to make any seasoned executive question reality. She saw the shot opportunities evaporate, the spacing collapse like a bad souffle, and the offense trudge. Threw molasses while Clark stood ready, wide-eyed, and touched, ignored. Her message was clear. This wasn't about Clark scoring, it was about the team stopping what worked. It was about Clark being an off-ball ghost while the team clanked mid-range. Bricks like it was 1997. This wasn't just an executive voicing concern. It was a basketball intervention disguised as a reckoning. Dunn made it painfully clear, Caitlin Clark isn't on this roster to hand out assists like Halloween candy. She's not a decoy, she's a flamethrower. And keeping that flamethrower holstered, while the team struggles to make layups, that's not strategy, that's sabotage. This wasn't an off night. It was a masterclass in confusion, with plays unfolding like improv scenes where no one knew their lines. The irony was brutal. If Stephanie White had simply done the obvious thing, build the offense around the most electrifying scorer in the league, none of this drama would have happened. But instead, the team took the scenic route through Bad Decision Valley, making pit stops at Underdog Fantasy Island before seemingly realizing the obvious. White has credentials, she's no slouch, but somewhere between the whiteboard and the actual game, something got profoundly lost in translation. Social media, of course, absolutely detonated. Fans turned into overnight coaches, play diagrams flooded timelines, and people were resurrecting old NCAA footage like sacred scripture, shouting into the void, "Let her cook." The collective meltdown could have powered a small city. Everyone, from analysts to keyboard warriors, chimed in. Was this some avant-garde strategy, or just an Olympic-level fumble of coaching common sense? And then, like all great sports dramas, the plot twisted. Suddenly, whispers started flying, lineup shakeups, new rotations, a shift in offensive philosophy. It was as if Dunn had walked into a team meeting with a flamethrower and simply stated, "Let's try not ruining our future for a change." The very next game, Clark had the ball more. Not full reign, not the unrestricted freedom fans craved, but enough to make them exhale slightly. The damage, however, had been done. White's coaching credibility took a hit so big, even the G League might have felt it. This entire saga became a real-time case study on how not to handle generational talent. The WNBA isn't a charity league. These women play to win. And the Fever have a once-in-a-generation opportunity, one that fans have been begging for. They didn't pack out arenas to watch Clark pass the ball to players who treat the rim like a haunted object. The locker room tensions surely percolated. Players must have wondered why their best weapon was acting like a decoy while they launched contested jumpers. So here we are on the brink of what could either be the greatest rookie breakout story since sliced bread or a cautionary tale about coaching paralysis. The future remains unwritten, but one thing is crystal clear: Linn Dunn does not play when it comes to basketball brilliance being wasted. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark firing on all cylinders. The fans demand it, the ratings demand it, and if this saga has taught us anything, it's that when a legend speaks, maybe, just maybe, the clipboard crowd should listen. Before the next timeout comes with pitchforks, what do you think about this wild ride? Was Linn Dunn's public call-out justified, or should these discussions stay behind closed doors? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of sports and celebrity.